I'd like to ask the Minister for Infrastructure when the General Framework for Housing Policy, which Tynwald endorsed in November 2013, will be updated and placed before Tynwald.
The Minister for Infrastructure, Mr Harmer.
Thank you, Mr President. The Framework for Delivery Policy Recommendations endorsed by Tynwald is commonly known as the Housing Review. The review started in 2014 and consists of 25 interlinked projects. In total, there are over 1,200 tasks of varying duration and complexity identified for delivery. 4 of the recommendations are complete, more are to be completed this financial year. These are policy recommendations that can be delivered in isolation. The remainder are co-joined, and many, due to their nature, will never be complete. They will merely become business as usual. To give honourable members an idea of scale, there are 4 policy areas complete, 40 initiatives delivered, and over 200 actively underway, many of which will be delivered in the new year. In 2016, the housing recommendations were reviewed against the programme for government to ensure they continue to be fit for purpose. At the members' presentation last year, I provided a positional update, and I am content to do so again. As we continue to deliver these recommendations, there is no need to update the policy recommendations.
Supplementary, Mr Hooper.
Thank you very much, Mr President. Is the Minister aware that when the Minister for Policy and Reform, or the Minister for Social Care at the time, the Honourable Member for Douglas East, Mr Robertshaw, brought this report to Tynwald. The report stated that he would recommend the report was endorsed by Tynwald as a general framework for the development of housing policy over the next 5 years. So 5 years from 2013 is now 2018. Does the Minister not feel that housing being pretty long-term, pretty fundamental to our way of life, housing policy really should be set at a national strategic level? And if so, when does he intend to bring a national strategic housing policy before this honourable court?
Reply, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr President. It is a difficult balance between delivery and strategy. I think the strategy that's and the policies that are set in the document are excellent, and that we are pushing through. And there are a number of things that have taken time. For example, a landlord registration a bill that we hope to come and bring forward, those sort of issues of funding models, all of the things that are actually in the document still apply. Now the question is, do we continue doing that? Do we start again and if you like, open the whole box? As I said, we did look at this with the programme for government, and it is very much part of the programme for government. I think the issue really is a case of, well do we, and I'm more than content to provide another update, more than content to provide a statement to this court, and to consider that. The issue, therefore, is, do we put a whole new strategy out? Actually, at this point, my focus has been to deliver the strategy.
Final supplementary, Mr Hooper.
Thank you, Mr President. I think the Minister is sort of missing the point here. I'm not asking him if he's going to be developing a completely new strategy. I'm not asking him if he's going to be going back to square one, back to ground zero and starting again. My question is, this strategy was endorsed by Tynwald for 5 years, so currently his department does not have a Tynwald-approved national housing policy or national housing strategy. I accept everything he's saying. He thinks the strategy that they currently have is excellent, it's great, it all still applies. Well, if that's the case, why does the department not bring a refreshed version of this document in front of Tynwald and make that case that this should be our continued housing policy for the next 5 years?
Minister.
I'll certainly take back what the member says in terms of whether there's a need to come back to Tynwald. I think there is a point of whether I'm not quite sure I see them all just falling away on the 1st of January. Those policies are endorsed going forward, but obviously we'll consider at the appropriate time to update, whether that's a statement or whether it's an updated policy. But that's something that obviously that we'll consider. I suppose my key issue here was about delivering some of these key issues and for what that are very, very important for the Isle of Man, and that's been my focus.